Hello everybody. So today I wanted to make a quick video about PopOS running on a Windows tablet that is on the Microsoft Surface. This one in particular is the Latitude 7275, also known as the XPS 12. Latitude computers are probably the cheapest and best computers to buy in the secondhand market. Many enterprise customer or businesses, they tend to replace their computers in bulk. They buy all of these Latitude devices from Dell at a pretty high cost. However, it has a massive warranty that if anything happens to it, Dell will take care of it, or it will send someone to go fix it right away, and Dell will cover that. As opposed to having your own tech department and having things go out of commission and things like that. Now, when the actual warranty on these devices expires, many enterprise customers, they rather rebuy new devices that have that warranty than to just extend the warranty because they see them as a better value. Anyways, when they get replaced, they get sold in bulk, which means you can get them for quite cheaply. Now, this is a tablet with a keyboard cover. And the tablet itself cost me around $120, and the keyboard cover about $30 on eBay. So, it is a quite thin device. It is similar to the Microsoft Surface line with the kickstand that folds. And it only has two lightning ports as the inputs and outputs. Right now I'm charging it because I tried recording this video earlier and the battery went out on me. As you can see it right there, it has two lightning ports. Sorry, not lightning. I keep saying lightning. I mean Thunderbolt 3 ports. Now this device, running PopOS, it is pretty awesome. Everything works except for a few things. So first of all, you see that it's upside down. This happens every time I close it back up and open it again. This is because it is a tablet. The tablet itself attaches magnetically to the cover. Now this keyboard cover doesn't have a battery. I know that Dell makes another tablet version that has like its own battery within the keyboard, but this is like super thin. Now this is a tablet. You can rotate it and it will rotate with you. The touch itself works, so even though it's running PopOS, it still runs. Let me do this off screen, and there you go. It also has an on-screen keyboard that is pretty responsive. If for some reason that doesn't work, you can always come up here in the corner and turn screen keyboard on. But these are the specs. There you go. And even though it only has like a dual core processor with 4 threads and 8 GB of RAM, it does everything I need for programming. Now, if you're not using any Apple specific things, then I recommend you get a cheap device like this if you want to start. The connection isn't so secure with the tablet itself. It does attach magnetically. Usually I have a piece of tape running that connects the tablet to the keyboard cover as well, because I don't trust that magnetic thing. If I'm carrying it like a notebook, then it might fall off the keyboard cover. One of the problems that I noticed is that things need to line up perfectly in order for the keyboard cover. See, right there is connected with power, but the trackpad isn't doing anything. You see, like this is the mouse pointer right here. So now that I touched the key, it decided to kick back. See, I have no idea why it does this. It's probably on like instabilities within Linux. Another thing that I noticed too is that the camera up here, the webcam and the rear webcam, they are not recognized by PopOS. They are recognized on Windows. Now the camera quality is terrible. It's super smudgy on Windows. You can't even tell what you're looking at. And I'm not exaggerating. Oh, it's low resolution with a lot of noise. It is literally smudgy. It's like someone took their thumb and left a huge smudge. And I think that has to do something with the internal element. But I don't use the webcam. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I tend to use my phone a lot for webcam. So there's an application called Irium. Let's see if I can show it right here. Yeah, so right here, I use this application a lot for video conferencing that allows me to use my cell phone as a video camera, which is pretty neat. And it does all of that if they're connected on the same Wi-Fi. Also, I gotten used to the Windows commands, or sorry, the Linux commands. So if you hit the super key, you can type anything. And you don't even have to use the trackpad. And I love this. I know people don't like GNOME for some reason, but I just love it. Now the screen resolution, it is a 1080p screen. It's a 1080p screen, but I run it at about 150% scale, or what I really like to do is run it at 900p, so 1600 by 900, and it's about the same size as you just saw, but the resolution is a little bit lower, so everything runs a little bit smoother. And I switched to Linux about a year ago, so it's not like I'm a super tech savvy person with the terminal, but for basic commands like ls and cd and stuff, I do that all the time. As a tablet, some gestures do work, so if you put 4 fingers on the screen and swipe up, you can change desktops. I know it doesn't look like it, but I'm changing desktops altogether. If you swipe from the left, you get the apps basically on install. So let's open Spotify so that you can see the actual desktop change. There it is. It's so weird, like with 4 fingers, but these are the GNOME commands. Why is it not loading? There it is. And how do I know that it's an actual desktop? Well, if you go to the activities menu right here, you can see how many open desktops you have and how many recent apps. So if I switch to the first desktop, you can see all the apps I have in that desktop. So if I go to the second one, and let's just open any random app, let's just open VS Code. Go back to the activities, and as you can see, you have like different workspaces. And what I did, I ended up like binding commands. The Linux experiment has a great video tutorial on how to add gestures to the trackpad. For these videos, they are not working. I have no idea why. See, like usually I map 3 fingers up and down to switch desktops, but I guess the packages aren't working or they're not loaded, which sucks. And they were working earlier, but Linux can be a little bit unreliable. In terms of stuff, what I do with it, I program a lot. I do a lot of web-based programming. So I install Android Studio, and it works great. You can even run the emulator on this dual-core machine, and because of I think it's like a specific utility, the Intel install, you can run the emulator as if it was running straight from the CPU. So the emulator itself works great. So when I'm doing React Native builds, I run the emulator on this while I'm running VS Code and running Expo and all of that stuff, and it doesn't even hiccup. And Android Studio is a really heavy program to open, and look how fast it opened it. I think that because the Linux operating system is not running so many processes compared to Windows, that's why it's a little bit faster. And that's why I switched. It's not so much that Windows doesn't do the job, it's just that like there's unexpected lag. Windows on this particular tablet just sucks. On my other laptop, my main laptop that has an i7 processor, quad-core CPU, 16 gigabytes of RAM, things stutter all the time, so I ended up just jumping ship to Linux since every tool that I use for development works on Linux. Now for gaming, I boot into Windows. My other laptop, not this one, my other laptop has 2 SSDs, one for Linux and working and doing serious stuff, and then one for Windows for gaming and things like that. Now if I run the Android emulator, since this is a touchscreen, you can actually run the device. Oh, it says it's already running. There it is. So like once it starts up and it boots up, you can literally just use your fingers as if you were using a cell phone, which is amazing. There it is. It might take a little bit to boot up, but once things are running, everything just works great. I have no idea why the gestures aren't working, but I know that all I did was map control, super, and then up and down to switch desktops. I mapped them to the gestures, and you can still do it with the keyboard shortcuts. So if I start playing a song, which I'm not going to do so I don't get copyrighted, I can just switch desktop code here. Oh, I want to change my song, go back up. Or even better yet, you can use the secondary function keys, which is amazing. I don't know how they all work. They all work just great when Linux recognizes it. So volume up, volume down, mute, unmute, skip songs, play, and you get the notification that it's playing. I put it in pause. What is this? Oh, there's the emulator getting notifications. I have no idea what this is. Search and keyboard lighting. It even supports keyboard lights like so, low and high and off. Those are the only modes for keyboards. Screen brightness, the print screen button, and I found it super awesome that all of the secondary function keys just work straight out of the box and you don't really have to do anything. So if we go back to the secondary desktop, look how much stuff I have open, right? And right now it's running the emulator, so let me tap so it focuses. I can literally just use it as like a normal Android device. Swipe left, swipe right. Let me open a web page so I can test pinch to zoom. No, I don't want to send you statistics, Googles. You already know everything about me. No thanks. So I just want to test the pinch to zoom. So let's just go to Wikipedia. No internet. I know why. So Wi-Fi is off. Let's just turn that on. So the reason the Wi-Fi was off is because this costs so little that I was able to get a dock, a Thunderbolt 3 dock for like $40 that comes and charges the device. And I actually hook up a monitor to that dock, an Ethernet cable, and a couple of external hard drives, and everything just works out of the box. I can't believe that like PopOS just supports Thunderbolt out of the box. It is amazing. This is the mobile view, so I don't think you can do... Can you do zoom? Let's try to open up an image and see if we can do pinch to zoom, because that's something I never really tried. Oh. This is the previous Geekbench scores of the emulator, which are like 90% of the actual laptop. So if I go to my history, I think this laptop gets a multi-score of like 1,000. And this is what the emulator gets, which was faster than my Mi A2 Lite. It's only an emulator and an Intel processor. So while Android Studio is running in the background, I know it's not building anything. I find it that it's pretty snappy. So let's switch desktops. Okay, so here let's open up a terminal. And just, type away in the terminal. For people that don't know, a terminal is just it's basically a place where you give commands to the laptop, and that's something that is the most intimidating. Many people don't know the basic commands, and you don't need to be a genius. I mean, I'm not a genius. I just use the CD and the ls and the apt get and all that stuff, but I don't really know like any advanced things. If I want to install a program, there are two options. You can go to the Pop Shop, which has a lot of programs pre-installed, which I find pretty convenient, and they're one-click install. This is basically like your app store on your cell phone. Let me lower the brightness. So if you wanted to install Slack from here, you could. If you wanted to install Telegram, you could. It's too bright. Alright, so if I wanted to install Telegram, you literally just go install. It will download it from the Pop Shop, which makes it super convenient because a lot of programs are already available here. So while that's downloading and installing, let's look at the monitor, system monitor. And this isn't even using that much RAM. So even though I have an Android emulator in the background, running Android Studio, downloading and installing. So downloading and installing, I'm only using 5 gigabytes of RAM of the total of 8. And I never reach 8 gigabytes. And this is with all this stuff open. In Windows, just running the emulator alone would probably be using about 10 gigabytes. And this is a fanless device, which is also pretty neat. You never hear any noise. And in terms of using it like a tablet, you can. I don't use it like a tablet because I mostly use it as a laptop. But it has a bunch of gestures that I don't really know or I don't really have memorized. I know that you can like switch between apps by like putting 4 fingers down and just tapping 1 finger. Is it 4 or is it just 3? I have no idea. Is it 5? I don't know. I can't really use it as a touchscreen device. Something that pisses me off is that Netflix doesn't stream in HD. But that's actually something that Netflix has an issue with, not just in this device, but every other device that runs Linux. You have to use the Windows or Mac OS app in order to get HD or 4K. And yeah, so PopOS runs pretty great on this device. This is installing Telegram. Let's zoom in a little bit. This is installing Telegram, running an emulator, and running Android Studio and VS Code. Now it's not building anything, but the fact of the matter is that if I were to use Windows, the Windows that came with this device, it would be running very sluggish and very bad. So I just wanted to showcase that other Windows tablets can run PopOS or Ubuntu, because I know most of the time people showcase it with the Surface Line. That's the most popular Windows tablet. But this Latitude 7275 is a great price. If you could get it, I highly suggest it. Also, one last thing, I've been running Docker, not just Docker, but I've been running a couple Docker containers for the Nextcloud installation. And I've been using this device as my Nextcloud server, which is pretty neat. I rebooted it right before I started this video, but I don't think that they're running currently because I shut all of that off. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's still running. So this is why it's also using more RAM. Let's see if I can zoom in. Sorry guys, but I'm using my cell phone and it's not as intuitive as the other ones. See, 7 weeks ago I created a couple of containers and I've been running a Nextcloud installation, and I've been actually backing up my files from my phone automatically, and this is my server as well. So the fact of the matter is, you don't need 16 gigabytes. You don't need to have a super fast processor like the Max M1 processors. They're super quick, they're awesome, I geek out over them, but you don't really need it. If you wanted to start programming, you could do everything you need to here, unless you need specific Mac tools like Xcode. So yeah, I know this was kind of like a ramble, but I just wanted to make a quick video showcasing that you can use Linux as an actual production machine, and that you don't have to worry so much about compatibility issues, because there are many tools and they're all available for all 3 systems. Now, in terms of Office stuff, you can definitely just use LibreOffice, which comes with this installation of PopOS. But I just use Google Docs because all the web-based Office applications work. Zoom works. Installation of I use Zoom all the time. Meets and Teams, they all work. and Slack works. So, you know, this is only like a Proton.js app, so it works. I think this has the Lambda School. I think this has like the Lambda School thing. Let's just open up as many apps as we can to see if we can get that usage at exactly 8 gigabytes. Here it is. So Aside, remember, is running a couple, like multiple Docker containers, and is working as a server in the background. It's running Slack. Let's open up more goodies. Let's open up Brave, which I use it as my main browser. I love Firefox, but they're falling behind in terms of speed and performance. Come on, focus. See, it's a little bit slow because I'm running all that stuff. Let's open up Postman. See, I was looking for Microsoft Surface devices beforehand. Well, at this point, it's a little bit sluggish, but that's because it's running a lot of things in the background. Did I switch it to power mode? Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if I spoke of the battery, but the battery, I only get about 2 hours, unfortunately. The battery is degraded. Yeah, it is in high performance. The battery is about 70% of what it was when it was brand new. And even when it was brand new, yeah, Brave browser isn't responding. Even when it was brand new, it was still pretty bad battery life, probably 4 hours at best. Right now, I get about an hour and a half to 2 hours while I do web browsing stuff. So not the best battery, and because it's an older device, you can't find brand new batteries. I know Dell makes a tablet that has an attachment with an extra battery on the keyboard itself. So the tablet has a battery, but also the keyboard dock has a battery, but this one doesn't. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Our dock has